Hey Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. It is Sunday, November the 19th, and I'm back with my weekly weekend update. I've got a finish this week, a new start, and I pieced together a quilt top earlier this afternoon. And let me just dive right into it. If you remember in my last video, I told you about a stitch retreat that I attended with Katrina Boyd of CrossStitchRetreats.com in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And while I was there, the retreat piece was a piece that was a kit piece by Shakespeare's Peddler called Let Your Heart Be Light. And I started it at the retreat, and I have worked on it on and off this week. There's been a few days that I didn't get to stitch at all. Christmas has already arrived at work, so I had some really long days and there was no stitching, but I worked on it yesterday and again today, and I have a finish on it. And here's my finish. It is stuffed with crushed walnut shells, so you know it's lays nice and flat, has a little weight to it. Of course, when you sit it up, I didn't fill it all the way. I think it's filled till about here. And I had this finished today, the full finish, while I was stitching along with a friend this afternoon. But here's the piece. Now, I will say, Teresa Shakespeare's Peddler designed this, and she had a small rusted pin for us to attach that jute to. I've lost it somewhere. It may be in my stitch bag, but after I attached the twine around the edges and put this little bow here, if you can see it, I used a little of the extra thread, and I just attached the jute there. I just sewed it in, but I love the finish. I'm told that this is Blackbird Design fabric, and that come in the kit as well. But very happy with this finish, so it's dated and done. So yesterday I had a couple friends over to stitch and for lunch, and I made a new start. And at the first retreat that I attended with Katrina Boyd was in Marietta, I believe it was in August, and she gifted everyone that attended this piece with the threads. So since we were sitting around stitching, and you know you don't concentrate when you have a couple friends over, you're laughing, you're cutting up, you make more mistakes than you do completed stitches, which means you're reversing the stitches after they leave. Natasha gifted me with this fabric yesterday, and I stitched this up. I recently finished it just minutes ago. The color's not coming out so well, but this is the piece. I've already dated it, and maybe next weekend I'll have another finish to show you. So this was started yesterday and finished today, and this was the new start, so started it yesterday. So very happy with that. And also, what I pieced together is I've shown you the fabrics that I purchased to make a quilt top using one of Miss Jenny Dawn of the Missouri Star Quilt Company's patterns. She had a quilt top about 5 videos ago, and it was actually a Halloween quilt top. It had 3 cats at the top, 3 witches' hats down the right-hand side, and then a pumpkin is the biggest portion of the piece. And this is it here. I just did the pumpkin. So I quilted this together this afternoon. I had cut the squares out last weekend when I had a moment, and took the opportunity to do this today. Now, took some creative liberties there. Miss Jenny had the stem as a brown piece of fabric, and of course I didn't have any brown, and my abilities are not as advanced as it needed to be to have I guess you would say, a vine from the stem. So I put it more of a apple leaf there than a vine, but I think it turned out great. I told my husband this would look great as a teacher's gift, as an apple. So it could be used in many different ways. I would have finished this up this afternoon, but I did not have enough backing fabric. And my husband's so supportive that as soon as he realized that, you know, I wasn't going to get it finished, we left this evening and he went and got backing fabric for me. So we weren't going to drive 45 minutes to Joann's though, but there was a place here in town and we stopped, and this is going to be the backing fabric. And of course this will be my binding. I do have enough of this color to do the binding, but this will be my backing. I think it'll look just fine. So hopefully by next weekend when I do another update, you will see a finish on this piece just in time for me to pack it up and get ready to decorate for Christmas. So I did that. What else have I been up to this week? Like I said, Christmas has kicked into gear. Hold on just a second. I don't want it too wrinkled. I used all of my best press trying to get this one, you know how it is when you quilt. Excuse me. I'm making more of a mess. But anyway, you know how it is when you're quilting. You're sewing and ironing and sewing and ironing and sewing and ironing, and then ironing it when you're done, and it's repeat and on and on and on. And so I used a lot of best press, and I didn't have that much, so I'm out. And I don't want it to get wrinkled because I've grown to love that product. So anyway, I've not gotten much stitching done, believe it or not. I've not stitched very much this week on my bigger projects. And I probably won't get as much stitching done through the rest of the year because, you know, this is my time to shine at work. Thanks to all of you, this is when we make our money to get us through the year. So my days will be very long, and that's not conducive to stitch time. So what else? Thursday, there was a meeting for our local sampler guild, and as I've shown you before, I have a redwork sampler. I have still not started it. I was unable to attend the meeting this week. Not because of any other reason than it was my son's day to call. And he calls his dad's phone, and it's not something I want to miss. So I made sure I was home, and I'm glad I did. He called at 6:45. Sampler Guild starts at 7, so if I had attended, I would have missed that call. So Jacob is doing great. He's still positive. He got a couple hours leave on Friday, and he said he's on his way to the PX for beef jerky of all things. So I guess with all the working out, his body is craving protein of all the things. If you've been deprived, if you deprived me for several weeks of all my comfort foods, I doubt very seriously beef jerky would be my first choice, but it was his. He told me to keep the letters coming. He's starting to miss home a lot. I know that his sisters and his dad and some of my friends at work have all sent him letters, and he really loves it, which I'm told that all of them do. I work with many veterans, and they all let me know that when they were in basic, that's what they looked forward to, were letters from home. So we're going to keep those letters coming. That's what Mama's here for. What else? I think that's it. So this coming week, of course, is Thanksgiving. And just ahead of time, I want to wish you all a very, very happy Thanksgiving. I watched Brian this week. I've not seen him in a while, and was glad to see a video from him earlier today. He asked about our Thanksgiving traditions. He said that they have a pie night the day before Thanksgiving. Well, here we have a soup night, and it's the day after Thanksgiving. It'll be different this year because my children are not here, but soup night for us was, we take the leftover turkey and maybe some leftover vegetables that we used in other dishes that, you know, may celery or corn, and the children would make a soup, and it was never the same from year to year. But they were in charge of making it, and they were in charge of what went in it. So my daughter Jordan will be here. She actually did make a comment earlier today about the soup after Thanksgiving. So maybe she will carry on that tradition, and it will just be with us. And maybe she'll let Kanan join in with her, my little grandson. So that is my tradition. And Teresa, she mentioned I've been binge watching her videos this week of Kitten Stitcher, and she mentioned that stuff that she's into. Well, I've told y'all before, but this is what I'm into. I've got my Daryl Dixon mug out tonight. It's Walking Dead night. Got to have a little Daryl. So I look forward to watching that. And that's what I'm into. I'm going to share with you this week. So other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And again, have a very happy Thanksgiving. Share it with your family and friends. Eat all the things, stitch all the things. And until next weekend, hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.